Wow. You're, he made me move to Texas and kicked me out. Ma'am, you started cheating on him immediately. Yes. Sneaking and talking with your ex, that's cheating. That's cheating. You cheated, ma'am. I don't feel bad for you. And you're asking him for an open relationship? Salute to your ex-boyfriend. He did the right thing.
I moved to Texas for a man who never loved me. Now I'm back in Ohio and starting over. Hi, True Story team. My name is Zoe, and I just want to start off by saying how thankful I am for your channel. I discovered it a few weeks ago after my life basically fell apart. I was sitting in my mom's house in Ohio, curled up with my laptop, crying and feeling like the dumbest woman alive, when YouTube recommended one of your videos. I saw a thumbnail of a woman getting kicked out of an apartment after asking for an open relationship and thought, wow, sounds like me. That's when I knew I had to share my story. I don't even know where to begin because so much happened. And looking back, I still can't believe how fast everything fell apart. I dated my ex Terrell for 4 years. We met when we were both 25. He was living in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was still in Ohio. Long distance at first, but we made it work. Well, I thought we were making it work. I used to believe we had something special. I uprooted my entire life for him. I quit my job, left my friends and family, packed everything I owned into the back of my car, and moved over 1,100 miles to be with him. That has to count for something, right? For the first year or so, things were actually good. We got an apartment together. I started working at a local salon, and we would talk about marriage, kids, the future. That's what kept me going, those little promises. But after year 2, the promises stopped, and I found myself waiting on a ring that never came. Every time I brought it up, he'd brush me off with some joke like, we'll get there when we get there, or you really want to rush into being miserable like your parents? It hurt. I felt like I was in limbo. I had friends from high school getting married and starting families, and here I was, 4 years deep with a man who couldn't even say when, if he'd propose. It started eating at me. I felt insecure, like maybe I wasn't enough, or like he was stringing me along until he found someone better. And that's where I'll admit I made a mistake, but not the kind of mistake he acted like it was. I never physically cheated. I need to be very clear about that. But I did message my ex from back home. His name's Dre. We were just talking at first. Small stuff like, how's life? What's new? That kind of thing. I never saw it as cheating because Dre still lived in Ohio. He wasn't even in the same time zone. I know people are going to say I crossed a line. Maybe I did. But to me, it was just talking. I was venting to someone who knew me from before, someone who used to care about me. I never met up with Dre, never even planned to. It was just messages, and yes, I sent him some gas money once. He said his car broke down and needed help getting to work, so I sent him $40 on Cash App. Now, here's the part that blew everything up. Terrell had this habit of randomly checking up on me. He was always low-key suspicious, always making little comments like, you glued to your phone again, or who you texting this late? I used to laugh it off, but apparently he wasn't playing. One day, while I was in the shower, he went into my laptop and read through my Facebook messages. That's how he found out about Dre. He didn't say anything that night. I could feel something was off, though. He was quiet, cold. Then the next morning, he just snapped. Threw my phone on the bed and said, so this what you been doing behind my back? Sending money to your ex? Texting him like I'm not here? I tried to explain. I told him it wasn't like that. That Dre was just someone to talk to. That I was lonely, frustrated, waiting on a proposal for 2 years while feeling like a roommate. He wasn't trying to hear none of that. To him, I was a cheater. He kept throwing that word around, cheater. Said he could never trust me again. That's when I said something I shouldn't have. I told him maybe we should open the relationship until he figured out whether he wanted to marry me. I thought it would give him time and give me a chance to feel desired again. It wasn't some wild suggestion. People do it all the time. But he looked at me like I had just spit in his face. Open the relationship so you can go screw around with Dre while I pay the rent? He shouted. He grabbed my duffel bag, started throwing my things in it, and told me I needed to be out by that evening. I was stunned. Like, what? Just like that? It was 102 degrees that day in Fort Worth. No exaggeration. I remember because my makeup was melting off my face and I felt like I was going to pass out. I called everyone I could think of. No one picked up. Not my coworkers, not my cousin who lived in Dallas, and definitely not his mama. I even called her twice. You know what she said the second time? This is between you and my son. I don't get in y'all business. I always knew she didn't like me, but that day she made sure I knew she really didn't care about me. I was sweating on the sidewalk with nowhere to go, dragging my little rolling suitcase behind me and trying to figure out which hotel I could afford with $60 and change in my bank account. Then came the worst part. I finally got someone from a rideshare app to agree to drive me across town to a cheaper motel. But the guy who picked me up, I don't even want to say his name. He kept trying to flirt with me, asking what happened, and when I explained, he said something like, well, maybe you need a man who knows how to treat you, or maybe one who knows how to asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You better. I froze. I told him I wasn't interested, and he pulled the car into this random parking lot, leaned over, and tried to touch my thigh. I panicked. I got out the car and ran. Luckily, an officer was parked in a nearby gas station lot and saw me crying and running in sandals. He pulled up, asked if I was okay, and I just broke down. To this day, I don't know that officer's name, but I'll never forget what he did. He took me to a hotel about 15 minutes away and paid for a whole week out of his own pocket. I sat in that hotel room shaking, crying, trying to figure out how my life went from building a future to surviving in a motel room because my boyfriend, no ex, decided I wasn't worth the effort. My mom came and got me the next week, drove the whole way from Ohio by herself. I didn't even tell her everything that happened, just said the relationship ended and I needed to come home. She didn't ask too many questions, just hugged me when I got in the car and said, "You're gonna be okay." Now I'm back in Ohio, living with my mom. And guess what? Terrell already has a new girlfriend. He posted her on Facebook less than a month after kicking me out. That tells me everything I need to know. I wasn't the one doing the cheating. He was probably already lining her up while I was still unpacking boxes in our apartment. I wasted 4 years on a man who never truly loved me, a man who never intended to marry me, a man who couldn't handle honesty, who acted like I betrayed him for talking to someone he was always jealous of, even though he never gave me the love I needed. I lost my job, my apartment, and my peace of mind chasing a future that was never real. And the worst part? I tried to reconnect with Dre when I got back home. Thought maybe there was something still there. We went out for lunch, had a good time, and talked about what went wrong the first time. Things were cool for a couple weeks until I downloaded a dating app just to see what was out there. He found out and ghosted me. So here I am, 29 years old. No apartment, no boyfriend, no ring, and no clue what to do next. I don't think relationships are for me anymore. Maybe I'm just not cut out for them. I give too much, trust too easily, and I don't know when to walk away. If it's okay with you guys, I'd love to send in a part 2. There's more to the story, including how I ended things with Dre again, how I've been trying to rebuild, and how I'm slowly realizing that maybe love isn't something I need to chase. It should find me. Thank you for reading this far. It means a lot. And if my story helps another woman avoid the mistakes I made, then maybe all this heartbreak wasn't for nothing. With love, Zoe. Part 2. I tried to reconnect with the man my ex thought I cheated with and still got burned. Hey again, true story team, it's Zoe. I want to start this second email off by thanking you from the bottom of my heart. I didn't expect to get the kind of emotional release I did after writing my first message. Just being able to sit down and pour my thoughts out was therapy I didn't even know I needed. I've reread what I wrote maybe 5 times now, and each time I catch a detail I forgot or a feeling I couldn't quite explain. But there's more to my story, and I'd like to share it if that's okay. If you remember, I ended my last email by saying I tried to reconnect with Dre, the ex from Ohio who my boyfriend, Terrell, always hated. The same guy that Terrell caught me messaging, which led to me getting kicked out in the middle of that blazing Texas heat. Dre wasn't some random dude I just hit up on a lonely night. He and I go way back. We met in college when I was 20, and even though we broke up, there was always this weird sense of unfinished business between us. He was the first man who ever told me I was beautiful without makeup. The first man who talked about building something together. So when I came back to Ohio, bruised and heartbroken from Terrell, part of me wondered if maybe, just maybe, Dre and I had another chance. So I hit him up. I kept it casual. I didn't want him thinking I was trying to hop from one man to the next. I sent him a text that said, "Guess who's back in town?" And he replied in less than 10 minutes with, "Texas didn't work out." That one sentence made my stomach twist, not because it hurt, but because it was so accurate. Like, damn. Nope, it didn't. We talked on and off for about a week before meeting in person. We met at this little diner we used to go to back in the day. Same waitress was working there, same cracked vinyl booths, same greasy menu I memorized by heart. It felt like going back in time. We sat across from each other, sipping bad coffee and catching up like nothing had changed. Only everything had changed. He looked older, not in a bad way, just more grown. A little more facial hair, a few worry lines on his forehead, and his eyes didn't light up the way they used to. I looked at him and realized we weren't 22 anymore. We were almost 30, and whatever was left between us wasn't fire. It was embers. But embers can still burn, can't they? We hung out a few more times after that. We went to a jazz bar downtown, watched a movie at his place, and even went grocery shopping together one Sunday afternoon like we were playing house. For a minute, I let myself believe that maybe the past was making a comeback. The problem? I still had healing to do. I didn't realize how broken I was until I started seeing Dre regularly. I'd jump when my phone rang. I'd feel the urge to explain where I was going or who I was texting, like I was still reporting to Terrell. I had internalized so much from that toxic relationship that I brought it into something that was supposed to feel safe. Worse, I got restless. As much as I liked Dre, something in me was craving something new. It's embarrassing to admit, but I downloaded a dating app, not because I wanted to cheat, but because I wanted to feel something exciting. I wanted the attention. I wanted to prove to myself that I was still wanted. I had been so rejected, so discarded, that even the ping of a new match felt like medicine. I wasn't even meeting up with anyone, just messaging, mindless stuff. Hey, what's up? Where are you from? That kind of thing. But Dre found out. He texted me one night saying, "So you back on Tinder? That's what this is?" I didn't even try to lie. I just told him the truth, that I didn't know what I was doing, that I felt lost, and that I wasn't sure I was ready for anything serious. He said, "Zoe, I was ready to give us another shot, but you're not healed, and I'm not about to be your Band-Aid." That stung, but he wasn't wrong. So that was the end of me and Dre, again. After that, I spiraled a bit. I spent most of my days applying for jobs, binge watching reality TV, and sleeping until noon. My mom kept checking in, asking how I was feeling. She was patient, but I could tell she wanted me to do something. Anything. I was just existing, breathing, but not living. A few weeks later, I finally got a job as a receptionist at a car dealership. It's not glamorous, and it's definitely not what I moved to Texas to chase, but it's something. It's structure. And honestly, it gave me back a little piece of my independence. I started making a routine. Wake up at 7:30, shower, do my hair, make coffee for my mom and myself, drive to work, smile through the day, clock out, drive home, cook dinner, watch TV, sleep, repeat. It sounds boring, but it helped. That kind of boring was safe, and I needed safe. Still, I couldn't shake the pain of what happened with Terrell. He posted new pictures of his girlfriend not long after I returned to Ohio. I didn't want to look, but I did. She's pretty. She's thinner than me, lighter skinned, and looks like the kind of girl who says yes to everything her man says just to keep him happy. I don't say that to be catty, it's just the vibe I got from her Instagram. She reposts all his photos, always has some mushy caption like, my king, or love of my life. It's wild because I used to write captions like that too. And then I saw a post that nearly knocked the air out of my lungs. It was a picture of a hand, her hand, with a ring on it. Yep, the ring I waited 2 years for. He proposed to her. Let me repeat that. The same man who told me, marriage ain't a game, I ain't rushing just because you feel old, went and proposed to the next woman just months after dumping me. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. I ended up doing both. I sat in my room, staring at that photo, wondering if I had ever been enough for him, if I was just the warm-up act before the real show. I think that broke me more than anything else, because I wasted years of my life thinking love was a transaction, that if I did enough, cooked enough, stayed quiet enough, loved hard enough, he'd choose me. He never did. So here's the truth I've come to accept. I wasn't too much. I wasn't not enough. I was just with the wrong man. I spent so much time trying to become his version of wife material that I lost who I was. I dumbed myself down. I bit my tongue when his mother disrespected me. I gave him space when he pulled away, and in return, I got kicked out into the Texas heat like I was trash. But I'm not trash. I'm someone who loved deeply, who hoped, who tried, who believed, even when all the signs said to walk away. That's not weakness. That's heart. So now I'm trying something new. For the first time in years, I'm dating myself. I take myself to the movies. I journal in the mornings. I read books that I abandoned while trying to keep a man interested. I go to the gym, not to get revenge or to snap back, but because I want to be stronger. I listen to music I like. I wear whatever makes me feel beautiful. And I deleted the dating apps, all of them. Because right now, I don't want another Terrell. I don't want a placeholder. I don't want to pour my energy into someone just to be drained dry. I want me. So to any woman out there who's watching your channel, wondering if she made a mistake by asking for more, let me say this: you didn't. Wanting commitment doesn't make you clingy. Asking for respect doesn't make you difficult. And healing doesn't mean going back to what broke you. I don't know what the future holds for me. Maybe one day I'll meet someone who sees my worth without me having to prove it. Maybe I won't, but either way, I'm learning how to stand on my own 2 feet again. Thank you for reading my story. Thank you for making space for people like me. Messy, heartbroken, trying to find our way. And if y'all ever do read this email on the channel, tell the ladies out there, don't settle, don't chase, don't beg. I tried all 3. None of them got me love.